Facebook analytics can be super difficult to understand, right? Especially if you've never worked with Facebook or any type of analytics before, whether that's Google Analytics or reading Instagram analytics. So in this video, we're gonna go over what those analytics are, what you need to know about those analytics, and how you need to use them to make more money with your ads that you're running online. Stay tuned, here we go. Alright guys, so like I said in the intro in this video, we're going to talk about Facebook analytics, alright? And here's the cool thing about Facebook analytics. It really applies to just about any other type of analytics that you're running, whether that's, or reading, reading, not running. You're not running analytics, you're reading them. But when you're reading analytics, you know, this applies to Google AdWords, it applies to Instagram, it applies to analytics for your email campaigns, really any kind of analytics because they all use the same criteria, basically. Some of them have different things like Facebook has different features that you're able to track versus like a website per se. So, you know, there's different little features, but for the most part, they are all the same. But we're going to go over the most important ones that you need to be looking at anytime you're running ad campaigns, no matter what type of campaign you're running. So why are Facebook analytics important? Guys, understanding that when you run ads, right? When you have an ad going on Facebook or Instagram or Google, if you're not reading the data, then you're missing out on the whole reason why this type of advertising is better than TV, radio, print. All right? The data itself is what allows you to optimize your campaigns and say, okay, we're not making money on this ad, we need to stop it, or we're making a lot of money on this ad, we need to start spending more money here. And that's what reading the analytics allows you to be able to determine, okay? So let's go into some of these analytics, the important ones, what they mean, how to read them, when to use them, or when to look at them. All of that kind of stuff is super important. So let's take a look at that now. All right, so the first thing we're going to look at is the basics. All right, so let's look at impressions, reach, and frequency. So what are impressions? Basically, an impression is how many times that ad is shown. That's it. Every time that ad is shown counts as an impression, whether it's the same person, whether it's a new person, it doesn't matter. It's just how many impressions are being shown to everybody out there who's looking at their newsfeed, okay? So if your ad shows to 500 different people, or not 500 different people, but 500 people in general, whether that's the same person 500 times, or whether it's, 500 different people. That is what an impression is, okay? It is showing the ad as many times as possible, not as many times as possible, but to as many people as possible. That's it. That is what an impression is. It says, Jordan has seen this ad twice, John has seen this ad one time, and Jane has seen this ad 3 times, so that's a total of what? 6 impressions, right? 6 total impressions, okay? So that's a quick example. Now, what is the difference between that and reach? Reach is how many people you're reaching individually or uniquely, meaning that Jordan got shown this ad once, John got showed this ad 3 times, but we're going to count it once. Jane, I think I said, was shown this ad 3 times, but again, that's once because she is one person, right? So each individual person or each unique view is how they calculate reach. So what you need to understand, why is that important? Well, because if you're showing an ad, right, and your reach is on, let's say you've got 1,000 impressions, all right, but your reach is only, say, let's say your reach is 300 people. That means out of the 1,000 times that your ad was shown, it was only shown to 300 people uniquely, okay? So that means you're not really reaching as many people as you thought. You see that 1,000 impressions, you're like, okay, cool, I'm showing this ad to a ton of people. But in actuality, you're only showing it to 300 people. You're showing it to them at an average of about 3.33 times, okay? So let's get into frequency, and frequency is just how many times is one person seeing an ad, okay? So very basic, very simple. Just understand that impressions, again, it's showing the ad. Doesn't matter how many times a person has seen it, it's shown that ad to that many people, okay? Reach is how many individual people or how many unique viewers saw that ad. And then frequency says, okay, well, what is our impressions divided by our reach? How many, out of all the times our ad was shown, how many people saw it uniquely, and that is our frequency. Okay, so how many times each person on average is seeing that ad. So you want to know frequency, why? Because you don't want to show your ad to someone 45 times in 3 days. When you show your ad to that many people, or to that little people, that many times in a short period of time, you're actually becoming really annoying. Alright, if you're the only thing that keeps popping up in their newsfeed as far as ads are concerned, you continually keep showing the same ad, it's never different, and they still haven't taken action, then you need to space your ad out, your ads out more. So to do that, you would actually go through a reach objective or goal when you set up the Facebook ad, so that way you can limit the amount of frequency that people see it. But I just want you guys to understand the difference between the three. These are important to be able to read because, again, it's going to tell you, okay, we're showing this ad way too much, we need to figure out how to take it back some, or we're not reaching enough people individually, we're only reaching 300 people, we really need this ad to see, or to get to more people. Okay guys, so the next thing you want to kind of be aware of with regards to analytics, or understanding, the little acronyms behind analytics and how they apply to the ads. The next ones we're going to look at are click-through rate link, cost per click, and cost per 1,000. Big thing, I don't understand why the M stands for 1,000, but that's what that means. M is 1,000, not 1 million. Okay? Alright, so let's start at the top. Click-through rate. What is click-through rate? On Facebook, what they look at is all clicks on anywhere, basically anywhere on that ad. Okay? So here's where that becomes an issue. Okay? That's why they have, number one, that's why they have CTRL, which is click-through rate link. Alright, what's the difference between the two? Click-through rate says, if you have a video and they click on that video to watch it or to turn the sound on even, that's a click. That's them engaging with that ad. That's also called an engagement. The big thing you want to know is that's not necessarily an action that means anything to you. If they're not clicking through and clicking the link to go to your landing page or your website, then all they did was watch that video. That's not as valuable as someone who's actually clicking on the link itself to go to your website, right? Because someone who's going to your website is actually more interested in the product or service. Whereas the person who just clicked on the video but didn't click on any links doesn't necessarily care about your product or service, right? So let's write this up here. Click through, I think people spell it T-H-R-U, rate. Sorry, my phone is going off. I'm actually in the process of finding a home right now, so I got people calling me and texting me all daggum day. Anyways, so click-through rate, click through rate, link. All right, and again, the biggest difference is click-through rate, link. The biggest difference is the fact that they are actually clicking through to your site. Click-through rate links are more valuable, and really these are the metrics you want to track. Click-through rate is good. It tells you, what kind of engagement, but the more important, acronym or important analytical piece here is the click-through rate link. All right, just so you guys understand that. So CPC and CPM, cost per click. The cost per click is, it's exactly that. It's cost per click. How many times are people clicking on it versus how much it costs you to run that campaign. Okay, so if it costs you $10 to run the campaign and you're getting 10 clicks, you have a $1 cost per click. People ask me all the time, well, what's a good cost per click, value? How much should it be? That's the thing, guys. It is different for every single industry. A quick thing you can do, go to Google and you can actually do like industry averages, cost per click for attorneys or something like that. And you can get an idea of what the cost per click should look like. But again, it's going to come down to your area, how many people live in your area, the competition, how many people are in that area that are doing the same business, or, not even necessarily your local area if you're doing a national brand. How many people nationally are in your competitive area or competitive space? That's going to affect how much it costs you. Because, for example, with attorneys are super competitive, okay? In any sense of the word, attorneys, when it comes to marketing, is super competitive. They spend a crap ton of money. They make a lot of money, so it allows them to spend a lot of money. And then they know that people are going online to search for their services. So they, again, just spend a lot of money there. So the cost per click for attorneys is much higher, especially if you're considering something like inbound marketing with pay-per-click ads on, say, Google. the cost per click average, you know, just for attorneys on there could be anywhere from, I've seen it, you know, as low as $5, but up to $120 for one click because of the amount of competitive, the amount of basically competitiveness, I guess that's a word, in each industry, okay? So cost per click, let me write it out. Cost per click. Again, it's something that you need to do some research on. It's going to take you some time. As you're running your ads, you'll be able to determine a little better, you know, what your average cost per click is going to look like. And then you need to set goals to obviously decrease that. If you've never worked in an industry before, your cost per click is going to be a lot higher than probably the average when you first start out because of the fact that you've never, you know, had to optimize ads in that niche or industry before. So practice. Make sure you're taking notes, understand what's working, what's not, what's making your cost per click lower, what's, you know, making it higher. Is it the content you're releasing? Is it the audiences you're targeting? You know, all of that has to do with how much the click is going to cost you, okay? And that's the other thing I want you guys to be aware of. When you target broad, your cost per click is going to be lower. When you target niche specific or, you know, demographically specific, it's going to cost you more because you know that you're reaching a specific audience, okay? So Facebook understands that and they know, okay, well, this person's customer is this. They are actually more likely to be clicking on this type of ad or it's more competitive in this demographic, so it costs more. That's kind of how they build out their algorithm to determine pricing. And then the last one is cost per thousand, okay? Per thousand impressions, all right? So this means how much is it going to cost you to show this ad 1,000 times? Not cost per thousand reach, which we just went over. So it doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna reach 1,000 different people. It means your ad's gonna be shown 1,000 times, okay? Doesn't matter if that's the same person 1,000 times or if it's, you know, 1,000 people 1,000 different times. That is your cost per thousand, okay? So another important set of metrics to understand here. They're super important to be able to read with Facebook, again, because understanding, you know, cost per thousand, this is for impressions. It's not for my reach. It tells you, okay, well, just to get 1,000 impressions and my average reach is, let's say, 450 people on 1,000 impressions. That means basically it's costing me, let's say it costs, you know, $10 for 1,000 impressions. That means it cost me $10 to reach 450 people individually. So being able to understand those analytics and read them and say, okay, well, we need to at least increase our reach and we need to be able to decrease our cost per thousand at the same time. So that way we're not, you know, taking on too much more expense just to reach the same or a little bit more people in the same niche with the same type of campaign, right? Okay, so the next metrics we're gonna look at are one of them, ROAS, conversion, lead, and registration. Okay, so what is ROAS? ROAS stands for return on ad spend. And what does return on ad spend mean? Basically, it means the total revenue. So how much you make on your ads. So if if you're running ads and you make $1,000, that's your total revenue, right? Off of your ads, $1,000, right? So it's your total revenue divided by your total cost of ads. All right, so if you spent $500 or $700 on ads and you made $1,000, your $1,000 goes up here in the total revenue, your $700 goes down here in your total cost of your ads. Now, what do you need to understand about this? Number one, you're going to get a percentage, a decimal, right? So if it's like 1.7, I think it's like let me look at it. I think it's like 1.37 or 1.4, something like that. Let me go through that really quick. It is 1,000 divided by, it's 1.428. So we'll say 1.43. All right, so what does this mean? Basically, it means you have a 143% return on ad spend. But what does that mean? Basically, it means that you're making 43 cents on every dollar spent on ads. Okay, so you want your ROAS to be above 1. Anything below 1 means you're not making money. It means you're losing money on your ad spend. Okay, but what I want you to understand though, before you say, oh, okay, well that means I'm making a ton of money. Not necessarily. You will want to look at your ROI, which your ROI, well, your ROAS, your return on ad spend, doesn't take into consideration costs like your fixed costs, your operational costs, your labor costs, all of that is not taken into consideration with ROAS. So just because you have a positive ROAS doesn't necessarily mean you have a positive ROI. So you'll want to understand your profit margin, all of that stuff. That's a whole nother topic where, you know, we would need to spend about 20 minutes breaking down ROAS versus ROI. But that's what you need to understand about ROAS. You're looking for a positive ROAS, obviously, right? And you're looking for it to be above 1, which to find that number, you just take your total revenue of all of your ads, how much did your ads make you, and divide it by the total cost of your ads on that platform. Don't do the total cost of your ads on Google and Facebook and Instagram. Just do the one platform. Now, obviously, you could do ROAS for all of your campaigns and do it that way as well. So you could combine your Facebook and your Google and your Instagram if you wanted. But just for this video, we're talking about Facebook, so you would only do Facebook. What is conversion? Conversion basically says somebody made a purchase. Somebody submitted a form. Somebody submitted a lead. So conversion is multiple things. We're going to talk about lead and registrations here in a second, what they are. But a conversion is exactly that. It is someone converting. It's not someone, you know, clicking a link. It's not someone, unless that's the conversion that you're tracking for. But it's not link clicks. It's not someone liking a post. It's not someone leaving a comment. Those aren't conversions. Conversion is someone purchasing a product, submitting a lead, completing a form, signing up for something. Those are conversions, and that is the metric that is most important. The more conversions you get for your customers, for your business, the happier everybody is because the more money you're able to make. A lead is exactly that. Guys, this is basic stuff, so we're going back to basics again. A lead is someone who is a potential customer. They're not a customer just yet, but they've given you their information. That's required of a lead. A lead does not count if they like your Facebook page. That's not a lead. You don't have any information about that person. You can retarget them on Facebook, but not necessarily a lead. A lead gives you information about themselves or reaches out to your business or tries to get more information specifically from someone at your business or through submitting their information via a funnel, right? And then a registration is similar to a lead, but a registration is more of a sign-up, someone creating an account with your business. So if you have a Shopify store, for example, and they go to your site and they create that guest account or that, you know, that user account for them to use at your store, that is a registration, and you can track all of these things. Why is it important to track these? Because leads and registrations and conversions, you're able to build custom audiences off of. Why is that important? And a custom audience basically says, okay, and actually more specifically, lookalike audiences. You can do custom and lookalike. A custom audience says, okay, this group of people, conversion, we're going to look at people who purchased, right? This group of people purchased our product. We know we can upsell them other products, so we're going to take that list of people, we're going to upload it into Facebook as a custom audience, and we're going to retarget them with our higher end products. Or maybe they didn't buy the lower end products, they go with that higher end product they bought, so you sell them that. Lead, you can do the same thing. And actually, before we get on to that, I mentioned custom audiences for conversion. A custom audience, or not custom, a lookalike audience for conversion. Lookalike audiences say, hey, these group of people purchased, right? These 1,000 people, this 1,000 people purchased our products. We want Facebook to create another group of audience or another audience group that is super similar to the people who made these purchases. So say the 1,000 people that made the purchase have a demographic range of anywhere from 25 to 30. They're male, they make, you know, $50,000 a year, and they have extreme interest in outdoor activities, entrepreneurship, and whatever, right? Facebook takes that list with all those interests and data and everything like that, goes to Facebook, finds all of their other people on Facebook and says, here's another group of 1 million people that have those exact same interests and behaviors as the group of 1,000 people that you provided. All right, so why is that important? It's because you're targeting people who are already more qualified to buy your product or service. Same thing with registration, same thing with lead. You do those exact same type of ad building, audience building strategies with those types of figures or metrics. That's what I'm trying to look for. With those metrics right there. All right, again, so to wrap it up, guys, really, you know, everybody asks me, well, what's the standard metric you want? What do you want it to look like? It depends on the industry. Really, cost per click, click-through rate link, click-through rate link, you just want it to be above 1%. ROAS, you want it to be above 1%. Everything else is kind of dependent on the industry, dependent on the competition, dependent on, you know, how much their audience is engaged with that type of content or product or service, right? That all depends. So you're going to have to do some research. You're going to have to do some testing to understand the metrics or to understand the exact values that associate with those metrics. So the next thing that people usually ask me is, Jordan, when do I scale my ads? When do I know how to, increase the ads? Well, what you want to do is you run your ads for a specific set of days or a specific time period. And then once you're done, you look at metrics like your click-through rate link, your cost per click, your ROAS. Did you make any return on ad spend? Did you have any conversion? Did you have any leads? Did you have any registrations? If you didn't have anything at all, then you're going to want to shut that ad down. You didn't target the right audience, your copy wasn't good, your creative wasn't good, there was something wrong. All right, shut that ad down. If you get some leads, or if you get a lead, right, and you figured out, okay, well, that was good, but we might need to optimize the ad, that's when you say, okay, well, we got a lead, or we got a conversion, or a registration, our ROAS is above, the 1% mark, or 100% mark, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to optimize those ads. To do that, you basically just figure out, okay, what demographics engaged? What were their interests? What content did we show them? What copy did we use? And what worked the best? Now, take that, narrow your budget, so eliminate the audiences or demographics or genders or whatever that weren't effective or appropriate or that it didn't relate to those audiences, and take those out of your ad sets. They should no longer be there. Take the copy that didn't work, remove it. Take the creative that sucked, remove it, and only focus on the ones that were effective, right? So that's all you're really going to look at to scale those ads. And really, guys, when you want to increase your budget, that's the same thing that you want to do. You don't start off by going out there and saying, all right, well, we're going to spend $10,000 on these ads. That's not how that works. You go in, you say, okay, we're going to test with about $500. We're going to run these different types of ads. We're going to spend $500 over, a week and see what kind of results we get. From there, then we'll, determine the winners and the losers on the ads, the winners and the losers on the audience sets, the ad sets, all of that. And then once you know what works, that's when you begin to scale and you say, okay, the ones that are working, we're going to put this much more into it. And you should also know that, say you're targeting men and women, right? But 75% of your audience is men, 25% of it is women. The people who actually buy the product or service or engage with your brand. That means 75% of the budget should probably go towards men, right? And the other 25% can go towards women. Because if you have an average of 75 and 25%, you shouldn't try to spend, 80% of your budget on women when you know that men are much more likely to convert, right? That wouldn't make sense. You're not going to optimize the campaign by doing that. So then the next thing would be, people ask me, Jordan, when I'm running these ads, how often do I run them for before I actually scale them? The minimum requirement that I say, and that a lot of people say, is about 3 days. And why is that? So 3 days, the reason why you want to do it in a time period of at least 3 days, and sometimes up to 5-7 days, is because it gives you time to collect data. All right, think of it like a survey. If you put out these ads, right, and you let it run for 12 hours, and you showed that ad to 500 people, but you didn't get a result. Well, people who take surveys on average take at least 1,000 people, right? So that way you get a broad enough audience with different interests and, different, behaviors to basically put in their input about that ad. Well, it's the same type of about that survey. It's the same concept when you apply it to ads. You want to say, okay, well, we need 1,000 people to tell us whether this ad was any good or not. That's why Facebook doesn't even show you relevance score until I believe it's either 500 or 1,000, but they don't even show you the relevance score of your ad until it's been shown to about 500 or 1,000 people. I think it's 1,000. All right? So that's why you have to understand, when to scale your budget, when you're going to want to do things like increase the ad budget or how long to leave those ads on. That's all important to understand because of the fact that if you shut them off too early, you're not collecting enough data for that survey or for that ad, right? You have to collect enough data, which means you need to leave them on for at least 3 days. Another point that you want to think of is, Monday, I might not get on Facebook, and obviously I will, but some people might not. Whereas Tuesday, I'm on Facebook all day, right? So Monday, you didn't show me that ad, but Tuesday you might have. And then Wednesday, let's say I get back on Wednesday, but Thursday I'm not. So that's why it's important to show it over a period of days because people are active at different times. Everybody's active at different times, so you have to spread it out so that way you're able to capture the most out of your budget and out of your campaign. Get the best results out of your data collection. Because when it comes down to Facebook ads, it really is all about the data. Without the data, the ads do nothing. You might as well just go out there and spend on TV or print, right? So That is it for this episode, guys. I hope it was super helpful for you. If you have any specific analytical metrics that you're not understanding or that you need help with, I want you to leave it in the comments below and ask me specifically, and I'll get back with you with an answer explaining what that metric is. Outside of that, guys, I hope you all enjoyed this. But before you go, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, because we do all kinds of updates. We do at least 3 videos every single week that go into digital marketing, social media marketing, how to get better results for your campaigns, how to build an agency if you're interested in that, how to increase sales for your e-commerce business, your online business, whatever. That's what we talk about. We teach digital marketing. You know, a lot of people think this channel is only for people starting an agency. That's not true. Everything we teach here is about getting results with digital marketing. So whether you're doing it for your personal brand, like I said, an e-commerce store, doesn't matter. That's what we teach here. So hit that subscribe button. If you guys are new, definitely hit that. If you guys are returning, I appreciate you guys for showing up. As always, you guys keep this channel going and keep me going. But like I said, I'm gonna get out of here. I hope you guys have a great week or a great weekend, wherever you are at in the world or whenever you're watching this. I will talk to you guys on the next one. So until then, Serial Entrepreneur out. Later, guys. Ready to start living the 6-figure work wherever, be your own boss lifestyle? Well, at Serial Entrepreneur Academy, we'll teach you how to use a laptop and internet to start your own social media and digital marketing agency. Get started with our free Facebook ads training. Links in the description below, guys. See you in the course. Serial Entrepreneur out.